life after the NFL, and you were able to transition so well, even though you had the knee problems, the physical problems, and things like that, which is a shame because you had a nice career, definitely. And talk about like how did you prepare during your playing career
Well,
for?
I want to correct you. My transition wasn't easy. I don't think any NFL player's transition is easy.
Okay,
I
okay,
think if you've, no matter how long you've played this game, if you played it for the love of the game, your transition is going to be hard.
okay, okay.
Because now you're not doing something that you've probably played since you were 8 years old. And now it's being taken away from you. And being able to play at the highest level
Mm-hmm.
makes that even more of an accomplishment
Mm-hmm.
to you. And so when you take away something like that, it's hard. It's a difficult transition.
Right.
If you look at some of the CEOs that some of the people that have had to retire when they were 55
Mm-hmm.
earlier than they would have wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
or just retired just because they were financially set and stable.
Mm-hmm.
They still, those people have difficult times transitioning from their careers.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're taking a 30 between 30 and 36-year-old and saying, okay, now it's time to find something else to do, something you've done your entire life
Yeah,
primarily,
110%.
and now you're taking it away. The adjustment is difficult, and so I had a period of adjustment, and what made it even worse is that following year after I retired, we went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So imagining the fact that, man, I could be on this field. I could have achieved the pinnacle of this game if my knee would have withstood the rigors of this game for one more year.
Right.
But it didn't happen to me, and the way I dealt with it is through my faith, and that's what I leaned on, is that I believe that God had a plan for me, and
Mm-hmm.
He put me in a position where I can make a difference to young men's lives, and that's what I'm doing, and that's how I got through that difficult time.
Mm, it's deep. It's deep, and talking and to talk about that faith and how it developed when you born and raised in Philadelphia,
Mm.
Pennsylvania. So much culture, so much tradition in Philadelphia. Athletics, entertainment wise, everything. Just being a part of that. How did you find football, and how did football find you
Well, I,
coming
I,
up?
I think growing up I had a passion. Me and my closest friend and I used to always go in my basement and play a game of tackle between ourselves. And that was, I mean, I guess that's where it started.
Mm,
And my dad had season tickets to the Eagles, so we would
okay.
always, my brother and I would share going to the games with my father.
Randall Cunningham
Yeah,
at that time.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I was a huge Eagles fan. Sorry, New Yorkers, but I was a huge Eagles fan. I hate them now, but I was a huge Eagles fan, and that's what piqued my interest in. My passion and my dream was to say, I want to play at Veterans Stadium. I want to play in Veterans Stadium. I want
Mm-hmm.
to play on that field. And and at the time I was growing up, that was a time when all we did was play football outside, play basketball, baseball. We go outside and play in the neighborhood. And towards the latter years in high school, things started to change, and that's when being in an inner city, that's when drugs started to come on the scene, and a lot of teenagers started to
The
to
crack, the
sell
crack
and
epidemic.
started
Yeah.
to sell, and so opportunities were out there to deter me or distract me from where I wanted to be and where I wanted to go, and but being as determined I was, and knowing that people already were against me, already had said that you're never going to make it out of this neighborhood, just inspired me to keep going
Mm-hmm.
and to continue to pursue my dreams. And I knew that, going, I guess, going into my senior year, I was being recruited by a number of different colleges, but I always wanted to please my teachers and my
That's
mother,
right.
my parents,
That's right.
and a lot of them wanted me to go to a good college. They
Mm-hmm.
knew I was a great student, and they wanted me to go to a great college. And actually, I was playing around going into the military academy.
Wow. Okay.
But knowing that
West
my
Point.
yeah,
To West Point or Annapolis.
Annapolis, and no, but knowing that my parents couldn't afford to go to an Ivy League school, I narrowed my choices down between Syracuse and Virginia, and I
Okay.
and I, and
Interesting.
only, but I had a terrible time on my recruiting visit at Virginia, and knowing that it was a great institution, a great academic school, and it had a great engineering program, and I knew that I would get the support I needed there to play football and to be and to study engineering.
Right.
I chose Virginia.
Wow.
And so that experience was tremendous. I think every decision I've made from high school on to college, I think God had ordained, because I had a great experience. I've learned a lot. I've learned from my mistakes, but I've also gained a lot of knowledge from where I've been and the people I've met where I've been. My coach George Welsh, he was a great mentor there. He kind of instilled the work ethic and the values, or reinforced the work ethic and the values that I had going into college. But knowing how to be a professional, he kind of helped me fine-tune those things a little bit. A great story. Going into my redshirt freshman year, I worked my tail off on the practice field, and he finally was going to give me an opportunity to play because I deserved it.
Yeah.
And so I got an opportunity to play alongside the two other fullbacks that were in front of me. And the very first time I got in, I scored a touchdown. So that was during the time of the NC Hammer craze.
Oh, right.
So I kind of went crazy.
Did you own some of those pants?
Yeah,
Those pants?
I thought I was wearing them when I got into the end zone. So I kind of lost my mind a little bit. And he kind of helped me refocus when I was making my way to the sideline. But, fortunately for me, later in the game, I scored another touchdown. Just set the ball down, and went off, and he congratulated me and said, "Hey, that's the way we do it around here."
Yes.
And that's what I live by. Is I'm the type of person that's not flashy, and I go about my business in a workmanlike fashion.
That's right.
And that's why I had the ugly shoulder pads, I had the ugly face mask. And till this day, when the rookies see me, say, "Man, you sure look ugly." I said, "I know," because it was all about the business at hand.
That's
I
right.
wasn't trying to look flashy, and it was about prolonging my career. I thought that if being a fullback, I wanted to protect my shoulders.
Yeah,
because
have
that's
those huge
that's
pads.
was my meal ticket, or my shoulders and my blocking ability. So I wanted to make sure that when I blocked, I had enough protection on that. At least that wouldn't be the cause of my short career. But like I said, I think that I've learned a lot from a lot of people that have come in my life, and I appreciate everybody that had a piece of or a part of my growth.
And talk about your teammates at UVA, at University of Virginia, under George Welch at that time, that did well in the NFL, like yourself.
I have had a lot of teammates that have played in the NFL. You had Herman Moore, Ray Roberts. You had Tyrone Davis. You had Chris Slade.
Love the way he played for New England.
James Ferrier, Jamie Sharper. Tiki and Rondé Barber. Played with those guys.
That's right. They're a little younger, younger than you. Yes.
So I've had an opportunity to play on a team in which they developed NFL players, and so I was very fortunate to be on that team. And I think
they looked up to you
exactly
as well.
And I think George Welsh had a lot to do with it, because he instilled the values and the work ethic that it took to make it to that next level.